Good morning. Welcome to Grandma's Table. I wanted to share with you something. For those of you that don't know, my name is Marilyn, and I sit at my grandma's table with a cup of coffee every morning, and I just ponder and think about things. It helps me sort out my brain, and it welcomes you into my life a little bit. And maybe along the way, there's some wisdom that we can impart to each other. And something I've been learning is the power of why. Why? Why? That was three whys for those of you that were counting. And it reminded me, as I was pondering this concept, it reminded me of the story of the woman who was teaching her child how to make the Christmas ham. And she starts and says, well, first of all, we need the biggest knife in the drawer. And we get the knife and we cut the ham in half. And then we put the two halves in the pan. And the son says, why? Why do we cut it in half? Oh, well, that's what Grandma taught me. So they carry on with the lesson on how to make the Christmas ham. Then he goes to Grandma and he says, Grandma, Mom's teaching me how to make this ham. And first thing we do is cut it in half. Why? And Grandma says, oh, good question. I've always done it that way. That's how I learned. Okay, cool, whatever. In the middle of the holidays, he spent some time at going to the nursing home to see his great grandma. And he walked in and he's talking to her. She had a lucid moment and he was describing everything that they had for dinner at the for Christmas. And he said, and I made the Christmas ham with Mom. Can you tell why we cut it in half? And she giggles and says, oh, kiddo, my pan wasn't big enough. I had to cook it in two parts. And so he followed the whys to figure out that something unnecessary was happening, but it had somehow become tradition. And so when we follow the whys, why is the garbage overflowing? Well, because so and so didn't take it out. Why didn't they take it out? Well, I guess I taught them that they didn't have to move and follow their task list until I got angry. Why? Because I don't feel my voice is valuable. And so people don't listen to it until I'm angry because I've trained them that way. You can do a fourth why on that. There's a lot of things you can unpack with therapy on that one. But see what I mean? The why. Why is the cat bugging me? Because I haven't given them soft food yet, which isn't true, by the way. They're already done their soft food. But why haven't you given them their soft food? I haven't taken the time to do that. Why haven't you taken the time to do that? Right? And you can get to the point where you start to understand and unpack what's actually happening. What's actually happening? Why do you feel you have to have a cup of coffee every morning? We're not going to unpack that one. But you get my point. And my question is for you. What is your why? Dig a little deeper. That's the challenge for you. Dig a little deeper. There's so many things. Why were you late for work? Because I pressed snooze on my alarm. Why did you press snooze on your alarm? Because I was super tired. Why were you super tired? Because I didn't plan ahead and go to bed when I should have gone to bed. Right? And you get all the way, and it helps you own your crap. I know that's a crass saying, but that's how I try to teach my young people. Own your crap. You don't have to own other people's, but you gotta own yours. And if something's just happening because it's always happened that way, you are allowed to mix it up. So ask yourself, why? Be like a preschooler. Why? And you'll find power in that. Anyway, that's the type of thing I'm learning this January. Why? Well, You keep your feet on the ground so that you can be where your feet are. You can be foundationally solid. And why do you keep your head in the clouds? So you can imagine and have a most wonderful life, just escaping from the real world, because sometimes that's really important. All right? Anyway, and why should you know that I love you? Because I do. Have a marvelous day. Bye.